So the old joke they say about Alzheimer's, it's, it's great to have it. You can meet new friends every day, and you can hide your own Easter eggs, and you can meet new friends every day. Nice to see you all again. I'm Alan Keele, and I'm really glad to be here with my wife, Linda. And I was wearing my mask more or less out of habit, but also because Linda at our table was, so this is dangerous business. So I tend to put this mask out whenever I'm filled with fear. A few years ago, I encountered through a German author friend of mine the fact that our colleague at BYU, Ray Matheny, who was a professor in the anthropology department, quite a successful one, as a young teenager, lied about his age, joined the U.S. Air Force, and become a B-17 crew member. And he flew over Germany, was shot down, and was imprisoned in near a town along the Danube River in a POW camp, and then was freed. And as they were marching out, they went past Mauthausen, which is one of the most infamous concentration camps. They had no idea why they were meeting these skeletons dressed in striped pajamas that were staggering around, having been liberated themselves. The guards just walked away. They destroyed the engines in a bunch of German airplanes that they found on an airfield, only to be told by some guy who screeched up in a Jeep that these were American property and they had already liberated them and they wanted to have them intact because for this reason and that reason. And what were you guys thinking, destroying all the engines in these German airplanes? At the very end, there were 5 of them sitting around, and General Eisenhower walked up to them and congratulated them and so forth. When I introduced Ray to my friend Walter Kem-powski, Ray pulled out of his drawer a manuscript like this and said, "I've written my life history." And Walter Kem-powski, one of the most famous authors in Germany, took it home, had it rented an apartment down by the stadium for him. And the next morning when I picked him up, he was teaching a seminar for us at BYU. He said, "This is the best book I've ever read." He said, "I'm going to take this home." And he did, and he brought it out in this translated version called Die Feuerreiter. We always have to have a German version of this so Gerhard can know what we're talking about. It's called Gefangen in Fliegenden Festungen, Gerhard. Captured in trapped in flying fortresses. That's the subtitle. Anyway, it was a great success. I was telling someone at our table that 6 months after this book came out, Ray called me over to his office and he said, "What is this thing here?" And I said, "It's a check for 70,000 German marks." He said, "Well, how much is that?" He thought it was like, lira, maybe 100,000 per dollar. I said, "Well, that's about $50,000. And he goes, "What?" But I can encourage him to bring that book out in English, and it took a long time. There were others who encouraged him. In the acknowledgments, Don, he tells us that he wrote some of this for you in a oral history class. Where's Don? There he is. And Don told me about that last semester too. I didn't realize that before. So this is the book that I'm going to take you through. Now, Judy, I feel a little guilty because you're taking a book a week or more, but I can only do one book a semester. And the book's not always exactly available. I looked today on Amazon and there's a couple of copies for $34 or $33. So what I was telling people at our table was, if you want to buy the book, that's great, but I'm going to more or less read it aloud and discuss it and summarize parts of it. It's 300 pages long. So that means we'll have to cover about 10 pages a week. But it is absolutely gripping. Matheny is absolutely a genius. He could have, as a 17 or 18-year-old kid, taken apart and reassembled an entire B-17 by himself. This is how smart he was. And he tells you technical details about the planes that you will not believe. But also as a human being, he's an amazing narrator, and I can see why Walter Kem-powski was enthused about this book. Ray passed away about a year ago, so I'm thinking of this also as a kind of homage to Ray Matheny. But if you're interested in the human element, you don't have to care about turbochargers and intercoolers and flying at 50,000 feet in 75 below zero weather with no oxygen. Well, those things are gripping and interesting too. But the human element is really there. So that aspect is there, and I can assure you that I think you'll like this. This is unlike anything I've done to teach before, but I try to do something a little different, and this is going to be different, but I hope it'll be interesting. I was knocked over by this book. Linda, you've read the book, and you had the same experience, right? So this is not just a guide thing with turbocharger. Thank you. I think I'm on Thursday.